I'm Tendai Lewis, Kushti, 2 C's, and Black Brighton. And this is...
I'm Jade Hylton, _Hilton.
Yeah.
And we have been meeting regularly on Instagram Live to talk about the recent issues behind Black Lives Matter, the protests, how it has affected us and the black community of which we've been speaking to throughout lockdown.
Yeah.
And I guess what we hope to see from these actions in the near future, I guess.
Definitely. I think this talk and the name of the talk, which is a statement that Jade said in one of our lives, that week my life mattered. Yeah. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that once I said it, I did definitely sort of felt like it rung so true.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's been something that I've felt the need to repeat because it's true. To me, my life has always mattered, but now
matters to everyone.
Yeah, now it seems to matter to everybody.
Yeah.
And it's quite a daunting feeling.
It's a bit weird.
It's really strange. It's really strange to see now the work that I do matters, and it kind of brings me to a question that I've sort of always wondered in the past. I don't know if this is the right way to phrase it, but do I have to be successful in my blackness to be successful? Can I not just be black and successful?
No.
Does it have to be?
That's what's apparent by this movement.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is, because now it seems like all my artwork matters. Now it seems that all my poetry matters. Now that
all your writing, all the things that you have been creating as a creative person, which
for the last
sometimes
10 years
center on your blackness.
Yeah.
Because Black Brighton was born from Jade. It was born from the Black Brighton exhibition that she held, and she captured other people who looked like her in her hometown, and that's what it was born in. But you do a lot that's not necessarily centered on being a black woman.
Yeah,
but we only care about the black stuff. Blackness sells.
Now we do.
Yeah, now we do.
Now we do.
That's some hot stuff, that black stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of how I felt at the beginning of the protest. What about you? Well, when obviously what happened
Floyd,
to George Floyd, and then the protests.
Do you know what? Initially with George Floyd's death, and this is going to sound quite weird, I think, but maybe not weird, but initially with his death, I remember someone asking me, "Oh, have you seen what's happened?" And I was like, I don't watch black drama, haven't for time. I won't watch 12 Years or a Slave, and I won't watch those videos generally. I try not to. And I was like, yeah, I did hear about it, but he's the 10th person this month, because it was beginning of May or mid-May.
No, it was the beginning of May, and I think was it 2 or 3 days prior?
Yeah,
the same thing had happened.
Yeah, pretty much.
And maybe again a few days after that, the same thing had happened.
And obviously, I'm on Twitter, on social media, like everyone else. So I also saw about Breonna Taylor, of course, and what happened to her, and she was, murdered in her bed, asleep. So initially I was like, that happens every day, kind of initial response.
Yeah. I
think for me, what was kind of was the response from white people, basically, was that they're kind of like, what?
Yeah. I mean, I used that analogy, I think, in my first chat.
Yeah.
Where I said, racism is almost like the ocean, and white people are standing on a bridge built from black backs, and they can't see over the edge of it, and the rest of the black community are treading water and trying to survive, and suddenly this bridge has broken down, and we've stopped shadowing them from the real kind of experiences that we have, and they see the ocean for the first time, and they're like, oh my god, what's this? I didn't realise this was here. And they're sort of dipping their toe in the ocean, and they're like, I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I think that's what it felt like completely, and that analogy is great, because it felt like all the white people that I knew, on Instagram, had suddenly gone, there's people drowning over there. They've been there the whole time.
Yeah, have you seen this ocean? Because I swear to God, I never see it before,
I'm dry. I'm comfortable. didn't know. I never knew.
Yeah, it does kind of feel like that, I think, for the black community. And it's what's really difficult, I think, for us to be able to really get a level of communication and education is that we're now like, oh, finally you see and we're tired, you know? And I think that there needs to be a time of respite for us to be able to really work together, keep that momentum up and match each other's energy on educating and communication.
Completely.
But I think at the moment, I think everyone's been quite exhausted from it all.
Yeah, it's been exhausting. I think also for it to happen during like a global pandemic, and while a lot of us were, you know, either isolating, in lockdown and stuff like that, and then to have it happen was kind of a weird space, because I think then I think also why during the pandemic it's been kind of more apparent is because everyone's at home. You don't have work and stuff to distract you.
And you have that isolation. Now there's that sort of community being built online in like this whole, you know, within this digital realm that we live in. And I think a lot of people are feeling like it's a great distraction, I guess, in a sense. I mean, it's awful, but it's better to try and make a life matter than to count the ones that are leaving us.
It was just weird. I think I went on Instagram in lockdown and everyone was baking bread, and then suddenly everyone was like, the black people! Yeah, you know what I mean? It was like 1 week, you know, everyone's doing home workouts and learn a new hobby and doing up banana bread, and then next thing they're like fully in the struggle, and you're like, what?
Yeah, like, did you know in 19... And it's like...
I did a little bit.
And if I didn't, it's okay that I didn't.
Yeah.
Because I'm still learning as well.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what a lot of people don't realise. Like, we're not, as black people, born, one, all related, and two, with all knowledge of all our ancestry, like history.
No.
Like, we don't know
we start
all.
from scratch.
Yeah.
We start from scratch. If you're not lucky to have a parent who is politicised or socially aware or wants to instill the importance of your blackness or your culture within you, then you do have to start from zero. But even within that, I still have conversations with my mum where she's like, no, and I'm like, yes, mum, it's like racism, it's like systemic, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's that they don't see it because of the generation that they're in and what happened when they were our age. And I think it makes it a bit of a struggle to grow from as well, because you know, it's still really new, all this trying to teach and learn about people's culture and heritage and background, and using the right language and asking the right questions. It is all very still kind of new, so,
and that's fine as well. I think when you're learning anything, you need that like time to know the best approach, you know. And I mean, the whole education system has to change anyway for us to really be able to educate ourselves. Definitely.
I do remember when I really started to want to learn more about my history, and I did look in local colleges if there was any evening adult classes that learnt about, you know, that sort of black history, colonial history, and there's just nothing out there. I mean, maybe there might be something in London, possibly, but you know, the fact that I would have to travel to potentially London just to get a little bit of education.
Yeah. I think that's also something that we've talked about prolifically, especially when it comes to things like the protests and the fact that there isn't a huge black population in Brighton, and you can really feel that. And it's stuff like that, you know, definitely, like there's the Black Archives in London, you know, you can go there and you can see all this stuff. Yeah. Because there's a huge black population there.
Yeah, and we do have those sorts of places. We have the Black and Ethnic Minority youth centre, but again, you know, it's not like, I only heard about that a few years ago.
I only heard about that a few months ago.
So,
and I was like, when was this? When I was a little black child in Brighton.
And you think, you know, is that because they're being lazy?
Yeah.
Those sorts of thoughts that you have when you think about black-owned businesses or businesses run for black people, or is it because the lack of funding and the lack of interest, and you know,
that's a very real thing also.
Yeah, so that is a bit of a difficult one, and those are the things that we have to work on. But it's really, really hard to work on these massive things as such a small black community in such a huge city with so many people in it that need to be educated and hopefully want to be as well. But I mean, the protest seems to have the organising of the protest seems to have been getting better as each one goes along.
Yeah.
The first one was a bit of a...
I think the first one was also a knee-jerk reaction. You know what I mean? I saw it on Facebook, it popped up, and I was like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And then the second one, clearly there was more time.
Yeah.
And then the third one, even more time.
Yeah.
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 I think there's definitely space for it. And I think something that I've been saying and thinking, I think I've talked about it with you, if we want to talk about what we want to see in the future, definitely longevity, but Brighton is a unique space in the way in which it's small, and you can see how the council itself and organisations in the city get behind things like Pride and the LGBTQ plus community here. You know, you see it on the buses, you know, the council has a rainbow, they put it, you know, on North Street you have the banners, and I think because of that we have the potential to do the same for the black community, and in a wider sense the people of colour that live in this city.
Yeah, because we do have definitely a very mixed culture in this city. It's just not as...
doesn't feel as apparent as other places.
No, not at all.
But it's there.
It is there.
Yeah.
You just have to seek it out. And I think that is, you know, I think the problem with that is the... You know when you go for a job and it's like they have like group interviews.
Yeah.
And you know when like there's that one other black person there and you know that it's going to be... Yeah. You know it's going to be either you or them. Yeah, because each establishment has to tick those boxes. And I think a lot of that has to do with why you don't really get to meet a lot of other black people in the city, is because, I mean, how many times do you go into a white-owned business or a massive chain commercial fashion shop and it's full of black people working there?
It's very, very rare.
Right?
It's very rare.
Unless you're maybe in a place like London where the majority are black, or it's a black-owned business.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you just don't see it. So it's so much harder, I find, as a working adult, to find black friends.
People.
Because they're ticking the box. You are the ticked box.
Yeah, and
you are that one ticked box.
Ticked.
Yeah, they don't need to tick that box more than once. Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do also with the difficulty of finding that community within your city.
True. I mean, I've seen it more so during lockdown, actually, and I think when they eased lockdown, you know, when they said there's unlimited exercise, I mean, they're on the lawns, and I'd be sitting there, and I saw all these, like, gangs of, like, young black people together, and I was like, how did you guys meet?
Yeah, how did you meet?
Because when I went to school in the city, I was like one of like a handful. Yeah, if
same.
You know what I mean? And like you kind of knew that person. If you didn't get along with that person, then you didn't have black friends. You know what I mean? There wasn't like enough black people for you to pick and choose.
Yeah, or if you were lucky enough that your mum had some black friends and they had black kids.
And they had black kids, and then you would meet up and you'd be like, completely. So no, I get what you mean, because now as an adult you meet people at work, you meet people in adult spaces, and they're not, and it's been not diverse enough to do
there's been a few places that I've worked in when, you know, I've worked in some places where I've worked with a lot of Spanish people. I've had that, but I've never worked in a place, and I've worked in a place where there's been like one or two other black people there, but I mean, that's it. Very rare. And that's if, like, the staff are of, like, 50. Do you know what I mean? Not 50, but more than, like 5 or 6. Yeah,
there's not, like, small, tight-knit groups.
And if the staff are that big, then it would be rare that you'd work with them so often. Or you'd be in a different place at work, you know? So, it is hard to meet and create that black community within
Brighton. Yeah. Because of that, no, definitely. I mean, at the restaurant I work in, there are black people there. There's quite a lot of black women as well.
There is.
Actually. Yeah. And at one point, it was just like a little... And we're all short. Like, I'm 5'2". And so we're all short, and we're all just like... Hey. And then one will have braids, and one will have a weave, and I had my little afro out, and we were all like different flavours.
It's nice, isn't it?
It's nice.
And then just when you realise, you're like, oh, God, never worked with so many black people before. Oh, God, I worked with so many black people. Like... You just clock it, don't you? You realise it. So I definitely think that is... It's these little things that you really have to like take a step back from and really look at and think, why? You know, why do I not have this? Or why is this the problem? Or... And then, you realise that it's something that you're just so used to.
Yeah.
That it's just amazing when you do actually see it. Like, oh my God.
It's weird.
And it's really
like,
strange.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Really strange. But yeah, so.
I think definitely for the future, I think I want, because obviously the council's pledged to be anti-racist and all of this. And I think what we need to see is for this city to feel like a space where we can easily connect.
Yeah.
Even if there's like a little bit, there's only a little of us.
Yeah, there's only a really small amount of us.
So just give us a little corner.
Yeah. And I think, I'd really like for media and broadcast businesses that are in Brighton as well to realise their place in this movement and what they can do and the lack that they've shown so far. Mm-hmm. Really.
Yeah. And we mean that on like more than diversity.
Yeah.
Because I hate that word.
Yeah.
I really despise that word.
So, and I have been talking to some companies and they've been really transparent and we've had really good dialogue between us. So, it can happen. It can be done.
No, I can,
You just have to have a little bit of modesty and a little bit of understanding and it can be done.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a little bit more of what we need, and a bit of patience and a bit of understanding and a bit of willingness to educate yourself by yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Without feeling the need to have
a cookie.
Yeah, a cookie, yeah.
I think I said that on Platform B. I was like, you don't get a cookie from me.
No.
You won't get like a pat on the back.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job. It's a job that needs to be done, definitely. But it's going to be a thankless job.
Yeah.
Because like you said, like just because I'm black doesn't mean I was born with a handbook.
Yeah.
On all the things that I think and why they might be problematic and all the internalized oppression that I've been internalizing my whole life. And no one goes, well done, Jade, well done.
It takes so much energy to...
Yeah, and time.
Yeah.
And it's
to think about it and educate yourself and word yourself correctly, so...
And sometimes it's
you
like
say what you mean and you mean what you say.
Yeah, sometimes you look at how you perceive yourself and you go, God, that's a bit...
It is a bit messed up, and I do think to myself as well, like I always proclaim to not know everything, like I'm always learning, and Definitely. I may say some things that might not be quite the right phrasing or terminology, but it's what we're all doing, we're all learning, and it's all a learning curve, and it's just about opening up communication.
Definitely. But in saying that, we're not saying like you can't order black coffees anymore.
Yeah, no.
I saw that video, there's a video of this guy, proper English bloke. And he's like, you can't even go into your coffee shop and say black coffee.
You can't even order any black pudding. You got to order white pudding.
Yeah, and he's like, what about white pudding? Why isn't that offensive? And you're like, none of it is. None of what you said is.
No.
No one's screwing about what you're ordering.
Yeah.
We're kind of saying like, don't kill us in the streets.
Yeah.
And can we get jobs? And can we get paid the same? I think that's what we're bothered with.
Yeah, I think those are the main criteria here.
Yeah.
Really. But yeah. Having a bit of humility.
Yeah.
Transparency.
Humility, transparency, and
communication.
And
education.
Yeah. And longevity in that. We have to do that for like forever.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah, once you're committed to this is a relationship that you'll have for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Educating yourself on this. And yeah, it is a forever commitment. Yeah. Forever and ever and ever. It is for us, so it should be for everybody else.
For everyone, yeah. And that's the week our lives mattered.
Yeah.
Funny that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for listening.
Bye.
Mad.